Happy Monday to you, or maybe it's not so happy. There is some heavy things. That's why I'm here live. We're going to talk about some of those heavy things and some things happening in our world around us. Specifically, coming on here this evening, Monday night, to talk about SNAP benefits. Before I do that, though, you're like, who are you? I'm Adam Nagel. I am the executive director here at the Factory Ministries. If you are on our social media channels, you know me, you've been seeing me, you interact with me. Maybe some of you I've journeyed with you here in the community. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a part of the work that we're doing. I say all the time, we can't do this work without being together. The reality of poverty alleviation and reduction is it's not a solo thing. It's not a single organization thing. It's not a single church thing. It's not a single family thing. It's not a government thing. It's a together thing. So thank you for being with us. Thank you for all that you do. Getting on tonight and then this video will be here for those of you that may be watching it later, not seeing it live. But if you are live, love to see your comments, ask your questions specifically around, we're going to talk about SNAP benefits. And you've likely seen it in the news. You're maybe watching the news right now, WJL or the Lancaster newspaper or whatever it might be where you're engaging or talking with a friend, or maybe you're chatting with someone at church yesterday or talking with a neighbor or at work today and you're hearing this thing, or maybe you're driving home listening to WITF and NPR and you're like, okay, what is this thing about SNAP and what's going on and the budget and all the things. So want to talk about it, want to educate around it a little bit, and want to say, hey, here's an opportunity. Here's what we're doing. As we're an agency and an organization that stands on the front lines of poverty alleviation and poverty reduction. So a lot to talk about. First thing, let's talk about really, how about what is SNAP? What's happening? So SNAP stands for, maybe some of you are like, well, I don't even know what SNAP is. It's an acronym. If you're maybe someone my age or older, you don't know SNAP, you know it as food stamps. That's really, in essence, what SNAP is. And it's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. There's certain income thresholds. You can Google that, see what that is. For individuals that make X, they get this amount put into there. It's all, it's on a scale, and then you get this amount and certain family size, et cetera. And then they are able to take that to the grocery store. It's a card that they get, much like for those of you who may not know, it's much like, think of a debit card or a gift card, if you will. You take it, you buy your food, and then you swipe with that card, scan with that card, and then that deducts out of your account. Right now, due to the government shutdown, SNAP benefits were not distributed. The first of each month, those that get SNAP benefits, the first of each month, money comes into your account based on, again, that formula and how that's in your application and everything it's doing. And then you use that money throughout the month to buy food, much needed food, is how that's worked. And then again, then each month that gets renewed. Well, this month, that was not renewed. And again, I'm not in government. I'm not here to get political. I'm not here. This is simply what's happening and what can we do about it? And ask your questions. Love to hear your questions here on social. So again, how it all works out and whether it's Democrat or Republican or the president or our governor or whatever it is. Listen, I will say this. Call your representative, reach out to them, let them know this is unacceptable. I don't care whether that representative is a Democrat or Republican. I don't care. Just send the message loud and clear. The one thing you can do, send the message loud and clear. This is not acceptable. Guys and gals, get it together, cross the aisle, figure this thing out. Whatever that might be, send that message loud and clear. They listen, they do. When large majorities of especially are sending that message. So I'd send that message, make a call, find out your local rep, and make that call to them. So anyway, SNAP. So here's where we're at right now. Here's kind of how it's unfolding. Here's some more education around it. Right now, let's talk Pequea Valley specifically. And in Pequea Valley, 1,600 residents are enrolled in SNAP. Now, here's something fascinating. Paradise Township, where I'm sitting right now, I'm in Paradise Township. food insecurity is one of the highest in the county. And then the factory market has served 418 families. That's 1,000 plus people this year alone, and distributed over 60,000 meals. Now, here's one thing I want to share about this. This is an interesting data point that sometimes I think it's missed. Lancaster County, as you look at Pennsylvania, is one of the lowest represented counties for SNAP benefits. In other words, there are more people in Lancaster that are available or can apply for SNAP that actually have it and don't receive it than any other county in Pennsylvania. Or not, hold on, let me back that up. May not be any other county, but I know we are one of the highest gaps in that. So there's a lot of opportunity for SNAP, a lot of individuals that use SNAP, and we are even low statewide as you think about that. So, sorry, let's go to the next one here. Sorry, here we go. It's the beauty of live, right? You have these. Why it matters: the average SNAP benefit is only $100 per person each month. So here's why I want to share this. I've heard people say, oh my goodness, like people just get SNAP and they're going out and buying their filet mignons and everything else. No, please hear me. Sure, in any system, on a government, private, church, family, in any system, any place there's a rule or a guideline, it is abused, and yes. Do we need to make adjustments? Maybe, sure. But that's not what this season is about. This season is about people are not getting their money to buy their food. And its average is about to be $100 per person per month. So we aren't talking massive amounts of money. We aren't talking this. So again, that's going to kind of give you the data on that. And every day without benefits means children. Think of children. So again, that $100 per child. So if you're a family of four, that's $400. That's $400 that family's not going to have to buy food. This isn't about politics. This isn't about people and dinner tables across. It's really about people on our dinner tables across the community. Those that are vulnerable, those that are under-resourced, those that are just struggling to make it. That's what this is really about. So we kind of want to give that caveat. Next thing want to share with you. Let's share this slide here. Even if families receive back pay. Now you say, well, Adam, aren't they gonna? I keep hearing in the news that they're gonna get money back to them. Sure, that is true. That is a true statement. They will, assuming this whole budget gets through and it gets approved, or the courts rule and they say, okay, release the money without the budget, however it all plays out. Money will come back. Now, here's the thing you want to remember, though. Please remember this. Right now, if you're receiving SNAP and you're dependent upon that SNAP benefit for food, and suddenly that money stops, and you don't have that money or that SNAP benefit, and you're like, oh shoot, food's pretty important. It's a big deal. So you may go out now and spend money that would be spent on your energy bills, or be spent on maybe your rent, or be spent on gas for getting around, or transportation, or whatever it might be. Suddenly money is diverted. When money comes back on your SNAP benefit, you can't then take that money and go spend it. Okay, well, I got to backfill now my rent. That's not how it works. So this is a big deal. This is a big gap, and it's significant. So I always want to talk about that. The other thing with this one I want to mention, some of you may be familiar with LIHEAP. It stands for LIHEAP, is Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. LIHEAP traditionally opens up in November. It is not this year, and it's postponed till December. So it's 1 month back. And there's conversation based on the budget talks. It might not open at all or have multiple months lag. So with that said, even if you think about your energy and individuals that are used to receiving subsidies and support for that through LIHEAP, that also might be going away. So that's another shot. Next one I'll mention, and you hear a lot of talk about this, health insurance on the marketplace. There is talk right now based on, again, the budgets, which all this is up in the air, which again, I'd say reach out to your representatives and say, man, get this figured out. There's talk that the tax premiums that you get on the open market, that's where you get your health insurance, the premiums could actually double by January 1 if this doesn't get figured out. So again, there's a lot of financial realities riding on this, SNAP just being one of them. Next one I'll mention to you. Here's a scale of need. For every one meal that a food bank provides, for every one meal that we provide here at the factory. So when a family takes their shopping cart through and goes home and has one meal, and for every one meal, SNAP provides 9. So this is substantial. So when you start adding all this up, and here's where the numbers, that's 418 boxes a week. That's $25,000 of gap. You think about a month, that's $1,672. If you're hearing, like, again, the reason I share this is because I've heard, oh, well, food banks are going to step in. Well, there is the shortfall. That means if we're going to step in, that's $100,000 more a month that we don't have, don't have built into our budget, that we're like, whoa, this is a substantial hit. Again, just kind of giving it to the numbers, and so we can, you can kind of walk with and kind of see how this all plays out and what is so what can we do? What we've put together is emergency to prepare food. Emergency food boxes. So there's a card like this. If you come into the factory, you're going to see boxes sitting in our lobby, in our entrance, with these cards attached to it. And I'll have the list in a minute of what that food is. And say, hey, come on and grab a box, go shopping. We ran the numbers at Walmart. $59.60 to fill a box with the items that are on this list. So fill a box, bring it back. Another thing that you can do, and I'll have information on this here in just a minute, is you could donate money that we can then make sure those boxes are filled and make sure our market is stocked and make sure all the things are ready for individuals in this shortfall. So we've already, a number of you, we had one individual, a huge high five to this individual. You know who you are. I'm not going to mention you by name here across all the internet, but reached out last week and said, hey, Adam, we know this. You guys are going to be in the front lines of this. A lot going on. My wife and I are sending $5,000. You should get that check shortly. So huge high five. Someone stopped in Friday with a check and some cash. I think ended up being like $400. Again, for saying, hey, I'm watching the news. I'm seeing what's going on. Thanks for being on the front lines. Thanks for being a part of this. So you can be a part of this. You can put a box together and or donate money. So what's in the box? Here's what the box looks like. You can fill the box, drop it off at the factory, take the box, go fill it up, drop it off. So we're looking for a jar of peanut butter, looking for a jar of jelly, 2 cans of chicken, 2 cans of tuna, 4 family-size cans of soup, 2 cans of ravioli, and then you can read down through, and then we're going to make sure then each of them have milk, bread, and other items that go, more perishable items that go out with that box. So that's the opportunity. Now, you say, well, Adam, I'd much easier just to get. Well, you can Venmo us money. You can get online and donate money, like individuals did, mail checks in. Some people are just stopping by and dropping it off and saying, hey, we want to be a part of this. And here it is. So that's the SNAP reality. That's what's taking place right now. That's what's going on. Again, didn't see any questions pop in here. That's okay. This is going to be playing. This will be playing here, sitting on our Facebook and on YouTube and other places for you to watch and continue to see and engage. We're going to try to keep some other information as we learn information, or as we change or maybe alter the plans based on the need as we begin to realize what's taking place and what's unfolding. We may need to change the plan, so you'll have more lives like this from me and maybe others here from the organization. But I want to end with this. Let me just end with this. Is you think about your neighbors. I want you to really stop and think about the reality of being under-resourced. The number one lesson that I have learned, it's hands down number one, is how much of life is gift, is grace. Stop and reflect on that. How much of your life is a result of something outside of anything that you can do about it or have done about it, good or bad. But I'm specifically thinking of the good right now. I think of your personality. Think of the gifts that you've been given. Think of the resources that you have. Think of the family that you're born in. Think of the zip code you were born into. Think of the neighborhood that you live. Think of so much of our life is not what's been earned and worked for and we're strive for, it's been a gift. It's a gift. And so oftentimes what I hear is this disconnect as people sometimes look in at SNAP and other benefits like this, and I see judgment. And I get it at times because you see abuses, and sometimes you see that one person that's abusing it, and suddenly then the stereotype goes to all. I want to pause that a minute. Just really encourage you to reflect on what it is that you have that's been given to you. And think about poverty in general. As I think about poverty, what is the source of poverty? We teach Bridges Out of Poverty, I'm a certified trainer in that. And one of my favorite things to do in that course, I'd ask you to think about the same thing. If you were in that course and I'm teaching it, and I put a flip chart up and get a marker out, and we start writing and calling out answers and say, look around your neighborhood, think of your community, think of Lancaster County as a whole, and ask, what are the causes of poverty? And people start calling answers out. And I have the thing quadrant into 4. And people don't know why I'm do that is because there are really 4 causes of poverty. And as people call it out, I'm writing the answers into the quadrant where they belong. The quadrant that takes about 80% of the responses is personal choice. And that's a big deal. And that's why sometimes I think we judge and we get critical and stereotype, because there is a reality of personal choice. I don't show up to work repeatedly. I will lose my job. I repeatedly oversleep and don't get out of bed in the morning. I repeatedly spend more money than I make. I repeatedly run a credit card up. I repeatedly don't pay off my credit card and carry a heavy balance and pick up 20% interest month after month after month after month. I don't pay my rent, or I don't go down the list of things that are personal choice driven. And oftentimes that when I do the course, 80+% of the answers that come, they're good answers. They're right answers. They're not bad at all. They're actually very accurate and very true. If I do those things, I will likely face poverty of some kind, under-resourcing. But they're the things we think about and we run to. But that's not all that it is. That's not all that plays out. There are other things, for example, community conditions. And the reality of the community in which I live and where I was born, and the rules in that. Exploitation is the next one. It's the next quadrant that comes around in that quadrant. Think of exploitation meaning scams and theft and stealing and all the identity theft and the powerful playing on the weak and the strong dominating, and those that are quicker and more apt and adept and all that. They start that plays in. And then the final one is social, political, economics. Think of inflation and think of things that are far bigger and broader than anything at times I can even get my head around, and it's not my sweet spot. But oftentimes we think of that one category, which is personal choice. Well, life is so much bigger than that. Life is so much more complex and able to boil poverty down to this one little slice of a thing. And then I step back and I think about my life. One of the stories that I'll tell is, I'll share this even here, is one of the stories I tell is, my kids right now or 2 of my kids, I should say, are working hard to get through college, and they're doing that on student loans. And they're working hard and trying to keep those loans down to a manageable size. I talk to friends and colleagues who are like, man, my student loan's at a mortgage payment level. Well, I look at my life, and I went to college. I got through college, but I got through with $2,500 of student loan and had it paid off within the first 3 years of being out of school. Now, why was I able to do that? Because I had a situation in my life where things lined up, and someone in my life was able to ultimately pay for a large majority of my schooling. Didn't ask for it, didn't look for it, didn't expect it, was planning on getting through college on my own, and all of a sudden, boom, this thing happens, and it lined up in a way that I got out of school. Now, I stop back and say, Adam, well, why did that happen to me? It was a gift. It was grace. It was something outside of my hard work, my ingenuity, my brains, my thinking, my anything. It was simply handed to me. Now, if I sit and unpack my life and you unpack your life, and we think about all that's been handed to us, really get honest about that. What has been handed to me? We start to realize, wow, so much of my life is a gift. So I look at individuals right now that are sitting where life has not been handed to them. And now this cards are stacking hard against them. The snap shortfall is here. On top of a snap shortfall, lie heap shortfall is here. And then the potential of the health insurance realities that are coming, could be coming. And we're looking at all this, we're saying, okay, what can we do? I want to invite you to step in, journey with your neighbors, journey with your friends, journey with your community, and say, we can do this together. We can roll our sleeves up, we can give money, we can go buy food, and we can make this thing happen. Final thing I want to say, why this is a really big deal, and I've shared this with others. People said to me, Adam, this is a heavy thing. I say, it is. And then I'll say to people, this has the potential. Let me say it this way. This has the potential of being a heavier crisis for the factory and this community than what we faced during COVID. You say, well, wow, COVID was like, none of us want to go back there, right? I say that because if you think about COVID, during COVID, the government issued eviction moratoriums. So someone was struggling and didn't have all the resources. They were assured they could not be evicted. There was money and resources to help back pay and all kinds of supports that helped even then subsidize and make up those shortfalls. And then we were getting, think of the number of stimulus checks that all of us received. We'll strip all of that away, but yet sit with the financial weight and the crisis and the reality. That's why I say this could be heavy. So I want to ask, again, reach out to your government officials. Say, hey, listen, your local representatives, listen, this isn't political. This isn't right and left. This is our neighbors. This is food on the table. This is, let's set aside our differences and solve this. Ask that of your representatives. Just make a phone call, send an email, say, hey, please, let's do this. And then in the meantime, while they're trying to work their stuff out, would you step in with us, give or buy food? Appreciate you tremendously. Again, we'll have other updates coming along the way throughout the week. So stay in touch, stay in tune. Appreciate you. Talk to you later.